We're live.
All right. Welcome back. Week 5 recap, Super Fantasy Bros podcast. In this episode, we're going to be breaking down some of the major injuries in week 5, unfortunately. But we'll be doing some calmer chaos, trust or bust, and finishing off with some trade talk.
Get loud, baby.
As of right now, the COVID update, we have no new cases on Wednesday after all of the NFL games. So that is some positive news. Not
Huzzah. Great news. Great.
Huzzah.
Yeah. Huzzah.
Cue with the huzzah. You got to get rid of that. Anyways, next big piece of news here. Le'Veon Bell was released by the Jets. Released.
Oh, boy.
Where do you guys think he's going to go?
Well, I'm seeing the reports of him going to Kansas City. And
My first guess would have been the Bears. I saw that would have been the best fit for Le'Veon.
They're an apparent front runner also, Chiefs and Bears. So I could see him there. Obviously, he would do more or much better in the Chiefs offense.
Yeah, I think you do a lot better in the Chiefs offense. I just don't think they go fully away from Clyde Edwards-Helaire if they get him. So
it would hurt, though.
It would definitely hurt Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So if you're a CEH owner, you
Sell him now.
do not want him. You do not want Le'Veon coming to your team. Any team you don't want Le'Veon going to. I think he might end up going to the Patriots. That's my hunch. I just think
they don't need 7 running backs.
But they don't like any of the running backs they have.
They love Rex.
They love risk.
Ew.
And they love veterans. So they bring in guys like Cam Newton, Mohamed Sanu, whoever they can get their hands on. Le'Veon Bell's out there now for veterans minimum. Bill Belichick might scoop him.
What ear?
Anyways, let's get into the injury recap here. Starting off, unfortunate, scary injury. Dak Prescott hurts. T-Gods, I know you're feeling the pain right now. But he had a compound fracture in his ankle, dislocated it. He's out for 4 to 6 months after surgery. If you watched the video, you were definitely disturbed, to say the least.
Probably threw up.
Yeah, I almost threw up. That shit was nasty. Get well soon, Dak, even from an Eagles fan. Definitely a scary injury.
Romo said you gotta hope it's just what did he say?
That's the worst cramp of all
Yeah,
time.
you gotta hope it's just a cramp. Why would he say that?
Rub some dirt on it. What Tony Dungy said was worse.
Well, I mean,
though.
he's far as shit away from the field, so I mean, he didn't really have the best angle of it. But I'm sure they have monitors up there, so
Right.
You shouldn't just assume Tony Romo.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think Andy Dalton's impact is on the offense?
I think everyone's stock is going down a little. We saw like a good amount of Andy Dalton in that game, and it seemed to be the Zeke show from what we were watching.
And Gallup.
Yeah, and
Gallup,
CD had
Gallup actually did have a pretty decent bounce back game.
He did. And
All right,
that was
so
only in the second half when Dalton came in.
So I guess Cooper is the one that's hurting from this because he did hurt that game.
I forget who said it, but they said Dalton probably had the most reps in practice with Gallup. So, I mean, it would make sense for him to come in and immediately go to him because they have chemistry.
Yeah, I still think I don't think this is like a huge downgrade for the offense in general. Like, I think Andy Dalton is a serviceable quarterback, so he should be able to get the ball to pretty much all of their weapons still. I think it just downgrades them a little bit as Dak was playing out of his mind.
He was a top 5. Andy Dalton did finish top 5 one year in fantasy, and he has a lot better weapons this year.
Yeah, like 6 years ago.
Yeah, let's not bring up 2013.
AJ Green was young, Tyler Eifert was alive, and Jeremy Hill was very good.
They might have still had TJ Houshmandzadeh back then, bro. That was a long time ago.
Oh my
Who's your
God.
mama? T-Gods, bring out the jersey.
In the closet.
He's gonna be like this.
Just like you.
Aside from the wide receivers and pass catchers, though, do you think this is an upgrade or a downgrade for Zeke?
Upgrade.
Upgrade for sure.
That's probably the only person that it's like a little bit of an upgrade for.
Because you don't know what you're going to expect from Dalton, so they can't stack the box and assume run because Dalton can play.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if their offense didn't really change at all, honestly. I mean, Dalton started for however many years, like forever. He's a fossil by now, but he knows how to get the job done.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. All right, let's move on to the next injury. Dalvin Cook.
Sorry, Matt.
Had an abductor strain. I know Matt's got a nice little sign there for him to get well soon. But he's unlikely to play this week. So Alexander Madison, must own, must start.
He's so good.
He looked like
Easily.
Dalvin out there.
He had
Honest-
16 fantasy points in PPR leagues in a half.
Exactly. And honestly, the fact that like he's unowned in some leagues was insane. You knew
Ridiculous. If
if
you
Dalvin
own
Cook-
Dalvin Cook, you must own Alexander
I wish
Madison.
they followed the
Must own.
Instagram. They should have followed the Instagram in the preseason when I made a post that Madison was going to break out.
You have to.
yeah, like you knew Madison would be an instant RB1 if Dalvin Cook was out for any amount of time. So
For sure. He
I think
proved it
Madison-
last year.
yeah, exactly. I think Madison will be really good this weekend. We'll get into that tomorrow for the week 6 preview. But Mike Boone, the other running back there, speculative ad.
No,
He kind of got involved.
Boo. No.
like boo.
We haven't really seen him, so it's hard to like tell right now. Honestly, I've never even heard of the guy. I looked him up a little bit the other day, but there wasn't really much on him.
Yeah, he didn't get much time on the field. He had 2 carries, but he had 19 yards, so he looked explosive in a very small sample size.
Yeah, 8 yards a carry. I'll take
Um,
it. 9 yards, whatever.
He'll probably put up like 5 or 6 as long as Dalvin Cook's out with Madison. So if
Yeah.
if you need to handcuff Madison at this point, Boone's your guy. All
You
right.
got to handcuff a handcuff.
On to the next injury here. DJ Chark injured his ankle. He did miss practice today, and Laviska Shenault also missed practice today. I'm not sure how serious either of these injuries are. They kind of downplayed Chark's injury after the game. But if both of them are out, Keelan Cole, probably a must start, even though I think it downgrades Gardner Minshew a lot.
Yeah, I would stay away from all of them. Well, I mean, stay away from Keelan Cole if either or both are out.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be like one of the only targets there, but that'd just be a scary offense. Be all James Robinson, I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Next injury here, Keenan Allen had back spasms. He is on a bye this week with the weird schedule realigning. But
Messed
Anthony
me up.
Lynn said he will be fine. So if he does miss time, though, where would you put Mike Williams? Is he in the wide receiver 2 conversation? Is he a flex? He's got upside.
I'd say he's a flex.
He's also
with,
been very
with wide receiver
disappointing.
2 upside. He's very boomer bust.
He's a tease. He'll have the game like he did on Monday Monday, and then this week he'll be non-existent or injured. So
He's
but
just another Marvin Jones.
yeah, or
Yeah.
That's a
Will
good way
Fuller.
to put it, Teagues.
Yeah, he's definitely been boomer bust. But as soon as Keenan went out, you saw he was getting a lot of deep targets and usually
impressive
him to catch
catches.
those rather than like getting PI penalties, which does happen from time to time. So yeah, he's definitely risky, but I think he's a solid flex if Keenan Allen ends up missing a week or 2. On to
That
the
is
next
true.
one here. Deontay Johnson, back injury as well. He did miss practice today, but he has been missing practice pretty much every Wednesday throughout the season thus far. Usually he has like a rest day for that day. He's still expected to play this week, according to Mike Tomlin. But do you still feel that Deontay Johnson is that number 2, or did Chase Claypool assert himself?
I don't think
No.
Claypool's much of a threat. I think as long as Deontay Johnson can play a full game, he's going to be the second guy, maybe in the first, because Juju didn't look too good last week. He needs to stop with the TikToks.
He's taking
Yeah,
up all his practice time.
We'll definitely talk about Juju in a little bit here, but I do like Claypool and I still like Deontay Johnson. So there's
Yeah.
just that offense looks good.
That Steelers offense always looks good.
Yeah, Big Ben slinging it.
Yep.
Sammy Watkins on the Chiefs hamstring strain. They said he could miss a couple weeks. So if he does do that, Mecole Hardman, does he look to be that next guy to step up?
Yeah.
If you're in the
Yeah.
Chiefs offense, you're bound to score.
Yeah,
Yeah.
eventually.
Just not Clyde.
Your time will come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
just
not
not
Clyde
Clyde.
Edwards-Helaire apparently. 1 touchdown in week 1. Supposed to have 5 right now, according to his expected touchdowns, but
Wait till they sign Le'Veon.
I hope not.
Bro, they're not signing Le'Veon.
They better not. I don't know. I don't like that move.
They're not signing Le'Veon.
You guys are just trying to manifest his destiny.
Please don't sign Le'Veon.
Hopefully, whoever the Chiefs GM is watching this.
Please.
Yeah, please don't. All right, and the last injury here, AJ Green, been pretty relevant, but he did re-aggravate that hamstring. Zach Taylor said he feels good today. Not really relevant anymore, but if he does miss time, is that a bump for T. Higgins?
No.
I think so.
Easily.
AJ's been so relevant anyway.
He has,
But
been
he's been
relevant,
taking
but he's been
targets
taking
away.
up targets. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think T. Higgins could get
Exactamundo.
a slight bump up, maybe into that flex territory where you actually consider starting him.
We're on the same wavelength, Sean.
Yes, we are, Matt. All right, that's enough of injuries. Let's get into some calm or chaos.
Right.
I was waiting for it. Let's start at the quarterback position. Let's start with a first-round draft pick, Lamar Jackson. 17 points. He only had
First rounder.
maybe
Who's-
second round. Maybe second round in some leagues. People were reaching on him. His ADP
were.
was like 12, bro.
Jesus.
2 carries for 3 yards this last week. Is that knee injury a concern?
I think it has to be, right?
Yeah, I guess.
He only had 2 rushes last week, right? So
2 rushes for 3 yards.
Yeah, that's not a good sign for Lamar.
Yeah, that's the lowest in a
all.
long time. I do think he bounces back though. I'm still staying calm on Lamar for sure, but it does
Especially
make me
this week.
nervous. The real question is, if it continues to be bothersome, is Lamar still elite without the rushing ability?
No.
No.
That's what made him elite.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that definitely takes his stock down a notch, especially considering like he does have Mark Andrews, but then he, aside from that, like Mark Hollywood Brown's pretty good, but he's not like consistent. And then you're looking at Willie Snead and whatnot. I don't think this can be a pass heavy offense.
Here's a quick question: Lamar or Tanny rest of season? Ryan Tannehill or Lamar Jackson rest of season? Both have similar teams. Both rely on the run.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I still think Lamar can bounce back. If Lamar doesn't have his rushing ability, I'd probably take Tannehill. Like if I knew,
But I mean,
knew right
you
now
can't
that
just
Lamar,
put cinder blocks on Lamar's feet and say, "Don't run."
no, but if his knee is seriously messed up where he's not going to be running for a few
Right.
games at least, I'd be nervous.
Last year, Tannehill only had 1 less rushing touchdown than Lamar through the 7 games that he was the starter on the Titans.
Tanny's nice.
How many less rushing yards though?
This is honestly an argument that's not against Lamar.
I didn't go
It's
that
just
far.
for Tannehill. Tannehill has been out of his mind. I think he has more passing touchdowns since he's been on the Titans
Mahomes.
than Mahomes does in the last 14
It's
starts.
just
for
when people
Mahomes.
think Tannehill, they think of old Jets and Miami.
Dolphins.
Tannehill.
They think of the
no.
playoff Tannehill.
You
Playoff
gotta get away-
Tannehill did not
Once you
throw
get
the
away
ball.
from Adam Gase, you excel.
All right, too much Tanny.
Yeah, too much Tanny. Let's move on to the
You
next
brought
one.
him up.
Yeah, you did. Anyways, Matt Ryan, calm or chaos on him. He has 32 fantasy points combined in the last 3 weeks in a 6-point passing touchdown week. He's averaging 11 points per game. 1 touchdown pass in the last 3 weeks. Calm or chaos?
He hasn't had all of his weapons, so that could be an excuse for him. But definitely a little chaos because he started so hot.
There
Yeah,
is
that-
no excuse. This is chaos.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is chaos too. I'm nervous about Matt Ryan. I'm just nervous about the Falcons. Like,
Yeah.
they just look like a dumpster fire right now. They're just not on the same page. And Matt Ryan usually takes a year or so to get used to an offensive system. And we've seen that in the past when they got Dan Quinn and then the former head coach prior to that. It takes them a year to get
John
that
McCain.
system under.
He looked like John McCain.
Takes him a while to get that system under his belt. So I'm nervous, especially with the new head coach. I assume they're not going to change things up much, but Matt Ryan does not look like Matty Ice right now.
Nope.
Matty,
He's
not
always been
nice.
shaky.
He's hit or miss. Next one, last quarterback here, Joe Burrow, 183 yards, 1 interception, 1 fumble lost, and 10 yards rushing. He only had 4 points against the Ravens. Is this calm or chaos? Do you feel any confidence starting him moving forward?
I'm
I think
staying
so.
Calm.
I'm staying calm.
That was definitely his toughest matchup so far. I mean, the previous games, I believe he had over 300 yards in all of them.
Yeah.
So
The
I
supplement
mean,
week is much easier, but yeah, this
right.
definitely for a rookie against Ravens defense. You couldn't expect him to do that well.
Yeah, I agree. The Ravens defense is really good, and they've been like feasting against not elite quarterbacks like
Little
Mahomes.
boys.
So yeah, Burrow definitely struggled. I think he'll have better days going ahead. I probably would avoid him this week though at Indianapolis.
for sure.
Their defense is a little banged up though, but still nervous. All right, let's move into some running backs. We were going to talk about Le'Veon Bell here, but at this point, you have to stay calm. You just have to hold him onto your roster.
This is chaos, though. What do you mean? This is chaos.
You don't know where he's gonna go. If
But
he's
you
even
know
gonna-
he's getting a job. He's not going to sit
okay,
out there
but
for too long.
where? If
And
he
he
goes to
was-
the Pats, that's
Is anything worse than the Jets?
That's what I'm saying.
the Pats.
I don't think so. The Pats are
I
going
don't
to
think
use him
that's
if he
worse.
goes there.
How?
That's a better offense. He
He
might not get
actually
touchdowns,
he
but
will
he's gonna
not
get
have as much opportunity on the Pats than he did on the Jets.
yes, but he'll have way more quality touches. Anytime he touches the ball, no one's gonna be thinking about Le'Veon Bell. They're gonna be thinking about Cam Newton. They're gonna be worried about Julian Edelman coming out of the slot.
What do you mean? They're gonna be like, bro, they just signed fucking Le'Veon Bell. We got to worry about Le'Veon Bell.
I
He's-
guess
He's gonna
But
do double what Rex did week 3 or 4, whatever week they had the
Okay,
3
he's
touchdowns.
not putting up 60 points, but
Yeah,
I think
no way.
I think
Hypothetically,
he'd get quality work on the Patriots compared to bad touches on the Jets. I'm staying calm. I'm just holding on to Le'Veon Bell and hoping he gets signed somewhere where he can get some work. Next one here, James Robinson. 13 carries for 48 yards, 5 catches for 22 yards. So stayed involved in the passing game, but only had 9 fantasy points because he fumbled.
Can I go back
Yeah.
to Le'Veon real quick? I just
Yeah,
want to
what's
say,
up?
he only fumbled 6 times in his career.
Did not know that.
he did fumble the bag in
6.
2018.
6 fumbles? I don't know. That's just crazy to me.
He did fumble the bag. He really did. He really should have just stuck with the Steelers. But
All
I
right,
mean,
so
he did
7
get
times.
paid.
7 times.
He
Should've
did get
went
paid a
up
lot
there.
by the Jets, but he probably still could have got that same amount playing for the Steelers. Anyways, James Robinson, 9 fantasy points, lost a fumble. Are you nervous at all? Is this calm or chaos?
You knew he would eventually come back down to earth from his 20s and 30-point performances. And with these wide receivers going back and forth, getting injured, I think James Robinson has to be a vital part of the offense.
I would agree. I think he's fine. I'm staying calm for
I'm
now.
not panicking.
Yeah, he's still getting such a good volume on an offense that has to throw, and the pass catching volume is really what's helping him out. So staying calm here. Another running back that struggled, Devin Singletary, 11 carries for 29 yards and only 1 catch for 8 yards while the Bills got blown out. 3 fantasy points. Is this calm or chaos?
Big chaos.
Mm,
No Zach
I
Moss,
mean,
no John
like-
Brown.
But like Sean said, the Bills got blown out. You want them to run the ball every down while they're getting blown out?
But would you expect TJ Yeldon getting all these touches and receiving yards? He was pretty involved.
He
in this
is the
game.
receiving back. That's like what he's there for.
I expected Singletary to get some more receptions for sure. I know he's definitely
He's
a capable
small.
pass
Though.
catcher.
He's not going to catch the ball downfield like Yeldon is.
Well, yeah, and I think Yeldon had like 1 catch
He had the
for
22
like
yard
22
touchdown.
yards
Yeah,
for the touchdown.
Right.
But Yeldon got more involved during garbage time. I just don't think they used much running backs at all. Josh Allen obviously is one to not really dump it off much. He's one to just run. So I'm a
TJ
little bit
Yeldon.
nervous, but I'm still staying calm on Singletary. I think it was just kind of a fluke game. I think he'll be fine.
I think the Bills once had Chris Ivory. I think they need to sign him back too. Might as well just do that. What year are we in?
No.
DJ Yeldon's relevant?
Yeah, TJ Yeldon, that was weird. I don't think we'll see that again with Zach Moss, hopefully coming back. Last running back here, Josh Kelly, 11 carries for 29 yards and 1 catch for 9 yards for 3 points. Calm or
Big dude.
chaos?
Chaos.
Yeah.
Us, along with many other people, like warned that Josh Kelly could lose his job to Justin Jackson in 1 week, and we saw the production Jackson was getting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was overconfident in Josh Kelly. I thought he was going to end up getting more work in the passing game and just getting more snaps in general than Justin Jackson because he was still being used over Jackson for a lot of that time. But he pretty much got the same workload he was getting with Eckler there. He only had 25 snaps and Justin Jackson had 42, and Justin Jackson was way more productive. So it's looking like Justin Jackson might be this Eckler replacement you were looking for, and Josh Kelly still going to be like
Kelly
a
was used
bye-week fill-in running back.
Kelly was like more using the goal line, or they were inside the 20. He was on the field at least.
Yeah, so he's definitely like a touchdown dependent like running back if you're looking to start Kelly. And he's just been struggling lately in terms of like yards per carry. Like I know week 1 he came out 12 carries for 60 yards, but like the last few weeks I think he's averaging like almost 3.2 yards per carry or something. So
Yeah.
he has not been efficient,
To say the least.
to say the least. All right, let's move into some wide receivers, big names. First off, Amari Cooper.
Pooper.
Pooper.
Pooper this past
Pooper.
weekend. 2 catches for 23 yards, 4 points. I think he only had 4 targets too. Is this calm or chaos?
Chaos.
Chaos. Andy Dalton must hate him.
Nope. I'm staying calm.
Staying calm too. I'm not jumping off that Amari Cooper bandwagon. He was probably considered top 5 wide receiver before Dak went down and before Dalton came in. So
Yeah. Please give Dalton time to like adjust to being the starter before we start saying chaos on Amari Cooper.
Okay.
Well, he plays. They have another. No, they don't.
We'll see. We'll see after this week.
Yeah.
He's in prime time. I don't know how he's going to deal with that.
yeah,
Well,
Andy Dalton's been in prime time a lot.
Yeah, he's a vet.
5 years
He'll
ago.
be all right.
I trust the Red Rocket.
Oh,
Red-
no.
Red
I don't know if I
Rifle.
trust the Red Rifle. But yeah, I think Amari Cooper will be fine. I just don't think he's going to be top 5. He's probably more
Yeah,
around
no.
top 10, maybe. at
I
worst,
wouldn't
top
have said
15.
he was top 5 even with Dak to finish the season.
I mean, I think he was top 5 in terms of points,
Right, but
but he
to
was
finish the season,
he was in
definitely
the
top 10.
conversation.
Definitely
Yeah.
top 10.
Definitely top 10. All right, next wide receiver here, Juju Smith-Schuster, 4 catches, 28 yards on 5 targets, while his counterpart Chase Claypool had 4 touchdowns. This calmer chaos on Juju.
Chaos. He wasn't being covered by Slay. It wasn't like a game where they were run heavy because they were pretty close with the Eagles until like the final 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Jalen Mills was on him, so you usually took
Yikes.
Jalen Mills.
Yeah.
Like we said, I said, stop with the TikToks. He has Chase Claypool now on TikTok, so I guess his downfall is coming. So as long as Deontay Johnson doesn't make a TikTok,
He'll
he's
be all
relevant.
right.
Yeah, and Ebron.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Juju only has 10 targets in the last 2 games, which 5 per game isn't bad, but you would expect more for the number 1 wide receiver on the team. If he didn't catch a touchdown last week, I'd be really nervous, but I think he's still too involved to be nervous yet. I want to see what he does against the Browns, and Big Ben's going to find a way to get him the ball.
Yeah.
I'm staying calm.
They're going to spread the ball out, though, so just expect that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if we'll get 6 for 69 and 2 touchdowns like he had in week 1.
Yeah, no.
Might be in the past.
Would you say that he's proven?
Maybe better. Maybe better because we just saw Chase Claypool go off for 4 touchdowns.
Would you
Yeah.
say that he's proven that he doesn't need AB as a wide receiver, that he can be the wide receiver 1? Because after week 1, we were kind of jumping on him saying that, yeah, he may be, but it's kind of cooled off since.
It's tough. We'll see. I want to see how he does throughout the whole season before making that
Okay, fair.
that claim. That's a big comparison to make. So I want to see what he does. And he's got a lot of good pass catchers around him. If it was just him, maybe he'd be doing more, like getting more force fed, but the ball's being spread around a lot. Next one here is Terry McLaurin, 3 catches for 26 yards. Calm or chaos?
This is chaos. This is 2 weeks now. We're without Haskins, I think. I don't think he had Haskins. No, his first week. Yeah, first week without Haskins. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the issue was last week, but
He was good last week.
No, I don't remember what happened last week, but
He had 10 for 118,
okay.
10 catches. I think
Ew.
it was his best game ever against the Ravens too.
I just think Alex Smith is still being too safe. Like he's known as the clock manager. I don't know how much is going to hurt Terry, but Allen wasn't doing too well either with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay calm. I think Kyle Allen is not as afraid to air it out as Alex Smith is. We saw him trying to push the ball downfield even with DJ Moore last year. So I think Terry McLaurin will be fine. I would hope. I'm not too worried about him. I think he's still going to get a lot of targets. He had 7 targets this week. I think he'll be fine.
Isaiah Wright, until he kicks in.
Isaiah Wright. Nah, he had 1 catch for like 6 yards.
Shut up with the fucking Isaiah Wright talk.
All right, next one here. DJ Chark, 3 catches for 16 yards, only 4 points. Did leave this game with an injury, but it was later in the game. Is this calm or chaos?
He'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'm staying calm.
I'll stay calm on him.
Yeah, I'm saying calm
He's
too. I think
easily the best receiver on that team, and the Jags are going to be behind a lot this season. So Minshew's going to have no choice but to air it out, and his number 1 target's going to be DJ Chark.
yeah.
And Day Westbrook.
Dab all day.
Yeah, I'm definitely staying calm on Chark.
Shit.
Next one here, Debo Samuel. 2 catches for 19 yards on 8 targets, 1 carry for 3 yards. He only had 3 fantasy points. Is this calm or chaos?
Calm. It
Calm.
was his first game back, and he had 8 targets.
And it was Garoppolo's first game back, and then he was benched for playing like ass. And
Correction,
Boo,
second
boo,
game back.
but.
oh
He did play, not Garoppolo, Deebo Samuel.
yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
that
Deebo
was
played
the
in week
second
4.
game?
Yeah, he played in
Oh.
week 4 against the Birds. He had a decent game. He had 7 fantasy points.
He'll
But
be
they did
alright.
say they wanted to ease him back into the offense. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll earn more reps as it moves forward. And obviously, you like 8 targets.
Yeah.
And Jimmy
He
G
also-
should bounce back from
Yeah.
that horrible performance.
If CJ Beathard is the new starter, concern.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'd be a little
Ooh.
nervous. Yeah, we'll see.
Absolute
We'll see how that goes.
chaos.
Or Nick Mullins.
Yeah, not good.
You don't want either of them.
Maria has a better arm than Nick Mullins.
Maria's my girlfriend, for those who don't know.
Sean doesn't have a girlfriend, for those who don't know.
Lies.
All right. This isn't Jerry Springer.
Anyways,
Jerry.
on to the next one here. Justin Jefferson, 3 catches for 23 yards, only 5 fantasy points. Is this calm or chaos on the young Vikings wide receiver?
Big calm. Big
Yeah,
calm.
I'll call it chaos only because everybody picked him up after that monster performance. They were expecting him to be like a true number 2 like Diggs was. But I mean, I see that he has potential, but definitely not going to repeat the week 3 or 4 or whatever week it was that he had previously.
Yeah, week 3, he had 7 for 175 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
That might be his best game in his career. I mean, those are some crazy numbers, but
That's ridiculous.
I don't know, man. He might beat it this week. He's playing the Atlanta secondary, so
He did.
Oof.
You expected him to toast the
Thielen.
Seattle defense, and he didn't. It was more Thielen, and he had the same amount of targets as Irv Smith Jr., their tight end.
I
Who?
like Irv Smith Jr.
Who?
I like him.
What happened to Kyle Rudolph?
I don't know.
Kyle Rudolph?
Died
Kyle.
off.
He can only
Rudolph.
make one-handed catches in the end zone. That's all
Yeah.
he's good for.
Yeah, he's good for like 6 touchdowns a year, and you have no idea when they're going to come. So, he's a
Not
dog,
when
though.
Dape owns him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Justin Jefferson, I'm staying calm though. I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to stay involved in this offense, and I still think he's the second best pass catching option.
Yes.
But there will be weeks where Kirk Cousins does you bad.
Gets -2 fantasy points.
Yeah, and then it's time to panic. Next one here, Tyler Lockett, shockingly on here in back-to-back weeks for Calmer Chaos. 4 catches for 44 yards, only 8 fantasy points. In the first 3 weeks, he had at least 8 targets, and now he only has 9 targets combined for the last 2. So his target share has depleted. What's going on with Tyler Lockett? Is this Calmer Chaos?
What's going on with Tyler Lockett is DK Metcalf.
DK.
This
'Cause
is pretty
that
normal
man
for him.
is a beast. He is the number 1 on the team. I'll argue all day with anyone about it. He is
He's-
the better receiver.
He's had weeks last year where he had some duds, Tyler Lockett. So this is kind of normal. I mean, I'm sure he'll get better as weeks go on, but DK, like, he's a problem
Mhm.
for that. I'm
That man
actually
is good.
I'm on the DK workout plan. I looked up the ebook. So like in December, I'll be wearing this with no sleeves.
Oh my god.
You'll look like Bill Belichick.
I'm so happy the
Yeah.
Eagles drafted JJ Arcega-Whiteside over him.
Yeah,
Me too.
Thank
we stole
God
him.
they did that.
And Jalen Rager over Justin Jefferson, 2 guys. But
Love that.
yes,
Love that.
Love
Love
the
it.
way we draft.
Love it. Anyways, let's stop the pity here. Let's move on to some tight ends. Evan Engram, 1 catch for 16 yards, but it happened to be a touchdown. He had 8 points. That was all he did all game. Is this calm or chaos?
Chaos. I think he knew that fantasy owners were ready to drop him. So he's like, let me get a touchdown, stay on their team for another week, and then another dud, and then peace out.
He's
Like-
like, keep me for 1 more week, please. 1 more.
Against a bad Cowboys defense, and they were they were down or up. It was a close game.
They were neck and neck. Yeah,
So he should have been more involved.
definitely should have been more involved.
Yeah, it was actually he did have that touchdown, but it was on a rush. He had 2 carries for 9 yards.
Yeah, that was anything.
That was such
Changes-
a weird play.
Change positions.
But 2 targets does concern me, especially in a game where the Giants offense finally looked like they got right, especially after a week with 10 targets. So I think you have to hold on to him, but I'm definitely leaning towards chaos. He doesn't seem like the same Evan Engram we had last year before he got hurt.
Are you still starting him?
If you have to, I know
will
tight
this
ends
week.
are kind of scarce, so you might have to be starting him, especially against Washington. But I'm nervous about starting him. If I have another option, I'm looking to start somebody else.
I'm trying to think of someone. Evan Ingram or
Robert Tanyan.
well, I feel
Rest
like
of season or this week?
Evan Ingram or Jimmy Graham.
Either or. Jimmy Graham.
I'm starting Jimmy Graham.
I would start Jimmy Graham probably this week.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham's been pretty solid.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Nick Foles.
Yeah, I'm nervous about Ingram.
Thank you, Nikki.
But
Big
I say
PP.
you hold on to him. You see a
Big
big
PP
performance, you feel more confident. All right. Tyler Higbee, a breakout for many. 2 catches for 12 yards on 2 targets. He only had 3 fantasy points. Is this calm or chaos?
This is chaos.
Tyler
This-
Hig bust.
I mean,
Big
it's a good
bust.
thing he called both of his targets. Maybe if he had 8 targets, he would have had 8 catches.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely nervous about Tyler Higbee. 3 points is rough. He has not been that breakout candidate you wanted to see. Honestly, I just don't think the Rams, like even Jared Goff's actually putting up some pretty big numbers aside from against the Giants, and he's still not really being involved aside from that one game. So it's chaos. If you drafted Tyler Higbee to be your number 1 tight end, you're probably looking elsewhere.
Should have sold him after week 2.
There's a lot of mouths to feed on that Rams.
After week 2,
offense.
you are excited. It's a big game. But yeah.
Sorry, week 3.
Anyways, last tight end here. Feels
Even
like
worse.
He's been here a lot often, which you didn't expect. Zach Ertz, 1 catch for 6 yards for 1 fantasy point.
Ugh.
Is it becoming chaos? Are we
It-
still holding out hope?
Well, you have to when Alshon or maybe the emergence of Travis Fulgham, they stop putting so much coverage on him. He will do something.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
he's getting locked up. He's the volume of targets is still there, so you still have to keep rolling him out there, even
Yeah.
in a tough matchup against Baltimore. I think better days are ahead with the matchups moving forward. You got the Giants, Dallas, the Giants again, Cleveland, Seattle. So the schedule definitely lightens up for Zach Ertz. So I still think he's like a buy low candidate. He's truly been struggling, but I'm definitely getting towards the nervous side. 1 catch on 6 targets.
1 catch for 6 yards.
Like,
That doesn't sound like Kittle money to me.
Scary.
yeah,
Yeesh.
it doesn't. You're right. It's,
Where's Goddard?
On my
he's still
bench.
on IR.
The hospital.
All right, let's get into our today's sponsor, the Thrive Fantasy app for iOS and Android. Here every week. I know you guys know about it. The Thrive Fantasy app, daily fantasy sports app for player props. So pretty much you're setting your lineup. You're trying to win some money. If you download that Thrive Fantasy app today, use our promo code SUPERFB. That is SUPERFB. And you deposit $20 or more, you will receive an instant $50
Sheesh.
bonus, as Matt is repeating for me.
If your fantasy team sucks, just start betting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Honestly.
Jump on that Thrive Fantasy app, try and win some money. If you think you know your fantasy, you just got hit by some injuries, it's a chance to win.
Mhm.
Give it a shot. $50 free. You can't pass it up. Thrive Fantasy app, iOS and Android. Look it up, download it, and play today
Or this weekend.
or this weekend. Yeah, probably this weekend. Probably not today. I don't
Makes
think
the
there's any
most
games
sense.
going on. You're right. Anyways, Matt, thanks for that.
You're welcome, Sean.
Let's get into trust or bust. A little bit of a more positive segment, even though we do say bust. These guys had some better performances this week, and did they earn our trust? And again, Carson Wentz, he makes this list: 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but he still managed 21 fantasy points. He has 3 games of 21 plus fantasy points in a row.
That sounds like a trust to me, baby.
Trust or bust?
He's still a bust for me.
Busty.
I think
Theon's
he's
the biggest Wentz hater ever.
Q, how many picks does he have this year? Do you know?
Like 9.
He has
11.
9 picks and a fumble.
Yeah, but we're talking about the fantasy numbers. He
He
still
has
has
10 turnovers.
20 plus points in 3 straight games, and then his players are coming back. Alshon will be back. The emergence of Fulgham, Ertz, and then after the bye week, he plays some pretty juicy matchups.
I might be with Q on this one, as crazy as he sounds. I'm definitely leaning towards a bust for this week. I am not trusting Carson Wentz
He's-
anywhere near my lineup.
That was such
Against
a
the
tease,
Ravens.
Sean.
I feel like you guys are just being biased right now.
I'm trying not to be biased. Dude, 21 fantasy points in 3 straight games. He's still putting up some decent numbers, and he's going to be forced to throw. I mean, the Eagles defense has not proven that they're going to stop opponents. So I think Carson Wentz,
I called him a bust last week.
he makes me nervous. Baltimore, obviously you're not starting him, but the schedule up ahead is pretty yummy.
I'm
Pretty
playing you
young.
this week. I almost have nothing to lose.
Yum,
If I can
yum.
scoop Carson Wentz, I might put him in.
You have
Against
Carson.
Baltimore, dude, you might be losing
Do
your
it.
mind there.
Do it. I'll get him with my 4th waiver pick and trade him to you.
Well, we're not. Do it then. That'll be a
All right.
waste of a pick.
All right, let's move on from Carson Wentz. Don't start him this week, but if he's out there in waivers, think about picking him up. He does have a favorable schedule, and he will be getting some weapons back. For who knows for how long though. Anyways, let's move on to some running backs. Joe Mixon. After that huge game, 24 carries for 59 yards. Not a very good yards per carry there with
That's
that offensive
horrible.
line, but he did still have 6 catches for 35 yards, 14 fantasy points. Is he fully back? Are you trusting him?
No. Big
I
bust
was-
for me.
I'm trusting him.
I
He's
honestly
Oh
had,
my
boomer busted
God.
Scary. He's so boomer busted scary.
I might
Why
have
do
to
you
take
trust him?
When he hasn't busted since week 3 against the Eagles, but the last 2 weeks he has 12 catches. He's playing like a flex wide receiver without his running numbers. If you add his running numbers on top, it's cherry on the top. He's not an RB1 right now. Don't get me wrong. He's not like top 10 running back right now with the
All
matchups
right.
he's been
Are
playing.
you still taking him over D Hop?
No, we're unless Joe Mixon somehow works his way and finishes this season as a top
2.
eight running back.
top 2.
Sean, I wish you could hear how absurd you sounded. when
That
you
statement
said
should
that.
have never been made in the beginning of the season.
You guys are forgetting that you needed to get a running back in these drafts. How do people that drafted Michael Thomas feel right now over any running back?
Dave?
Dave,
How's it
how do you
feel?
feel?
You're not feeling
How's it
good.
feel?
You're not feeling good. You would rather have Joe Mixon right now.
If you take out that 42-point game, he only has 38 fantasy points in 4 weeks. I'm just
Yep.
saying. I'm just
You're right.
saying.
And
That's
he
not
did have
even.
that
That's not
huge
even
game.
10 a week.
Inflation.
Yes, but I'm talking about recently. 12 catches. I think he's getting more involved in the passing game as he was in the past. If I have a running back, I'm obviously biased towards PPR running backs too. So if he's going to be involved in the passing game like this, I'm definitely riding Joe Mixon. We talk about Joe Mixon too much though, and we know
Sus.
T Gods
Yeah.
hates him,
Yeah,
He's
don't
all
ride
right.
Joe.
and I gas him up. You're starting Joe Mixon though.
Just don't
If you
ride
have
it.
him, you're
Yeah,
still
please
starting.
don't ride him though.
Okay. Maybe don't ride him like a horsey.
Yikes!
You're making it so much worse for yourself.
All right, let's
Oh
move on
my
to Joe Mixon.
God!
Sorry, Marie.
Another running back, Darrell Henderson Jr., 15 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown, plus 3 catches for 30 yards and another touchdown. So he had 21 fantasy points. Is this trust or bust?
I'll say trust. I think he likes going off when people lose faith in him. So, Sean, I know you had him on your bench this week, and he did this. But I think maybe moving forward, this gives McVay some encouragement to start Henderson, or at least being the most involved back, as we saw last week, having the most touches and 2 touchdowns.
I'm leaning towards bust. I like 21 points. I like that his production's been there, but with Cam Akers back, he had 9 carries for 61 yards. He was way more efficient on less carries. And I think Cam Akers is going to be more involved moving forward. Sean McVay said that himself. He said, I want Cam Akers to be the guy pretty much. Although can't take his word for too much. I think Henderson's still going to be involved, but I'm just nervous about this backfield. It's a carousel here. You don't know who's going to be the best every week. But
I
for
trust
now,
them.
for now, it's Henderson. I would
You trust
suggest
them more
selling
than
high, though.
You trust them more than Baltimore, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think this backfield has more upside than the Ravens do right now. But I don't know if I feel confident rolling out Henderson every week.
Yeah.
But he does have that upside to put up some points. On to the next one here. Kenyon Drake. 18 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown, but only 1 catch for 2 yards. Trust or bust? Are you trusting him? Is he
Big
back?
bust.
First, I'd like to.
Ooh.
I don't know if we're gonna get. I mean, obviously, we're gonna talk about him, but I'd like to congratulate Matt for his beautiful breakout this week in Chase Edmonds.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Chase
you.
Edmonds, I think he had like 19 fantasy points. So pretty solid breakout performance for Chase Edmonds.
Listen to me, man. I know my stuff.
We'll definitely get into who we like more on tomorrow's podcast for the preview. But for now, Kenyon Drake, it's a bust. He plays the Jets and he only gets like 12 points. I think he had 13 points. So he makes me nervous.
Yeah.
He makes
Very
me
nervous.
sick.
I'm only starting him if I
Yeah.
have to, and that's because there's not that many other options out there.
Yeah, I don't want to start Kenyon Drake, but
Kenyon.
you're forced to because you took him in the first round.
Kenyon Drake sucks.
Exactly. And Q did shout out Chase Edmonds. Is Chase Edmonds the trustable guy now? I know I said we're going to talk about it next week. We're going to talk about it now. Anyways, he played 16 less snaps than Kenyon Drake, but still had 3 carries for 36 yards, found the end zone, 5 catches for 56 yards. And he has 3 games this season with 12 plus points. Can you trust him starting him in your lineups?
I think he's
I
a
would.
solid flex play moving forward.
And imagine if he becomes a starter on that team. He could easily be an RB2.
Yeah.
He's giving me Danny Woodhead Chargers vibes right now.
Let's not get into Danny Woodhead because
Maybe
Yeah,
not-
like, Sean will
not-
go on for hours.
All right, maybe not top 3 in terms of fantasy, but it's someone
Yeah,
that
no
like
way.
you look at your bench and you're like, do I start this guy? Like he's projected like 6 points, but he ends up getting double digits somehow every week. I think he can be a viable RB2 option
Could be.
moving forward. I think if he's going to be this involved in the passing game, like 5 catches for 56 yards, like that's solid.
I regret not drafting Chase Edmonds. I made a mistake with him and DK.
I think anyone that drafted Kenyon Drake is regretting drafting him.
Big
instead of
time.
Chase Edmonds.
Big time.
All right. Another running back here, last one. Justin Jackson, 15 carries for 71 yards, 5 catches for 23 yards. We already talked about Josh Kelly, but Justin Jackson had 14 points himself. Are you trusting him to be the guy moving forward?
He definitely looked like the guy.
Most
I mean-
experienced Chargers running back.
Yeah. With the eye test, he looked good, and it looked like they were leaning on him slightly more than Kelly. I mean, I feel like they were trying to get a feel for both of them, but moving forward, I would definitely trust Justin Jackson more.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm definitely trusting Justin Jackson moving forward. Wide receivers. Talk about this guy every week. DJ Moore. So happy that he finally bounced back. 4 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown on only 5 targets, though. Is this trust or bust on DJ Moore?
I'm not trusting him, but I also wouldn't call him a bust.
Robbie Anderson, on
So,
the
like,
other hand,
what's in the middle?
Yeah, I'm probably somewhere in the middle as well.
Yeah.
I still want to see more. The Falcons secondary is obviously going to be a favorable matchup for any wide receiver.
For sure.
Robbie Anderson, he looks like the true number 1. I think DJ Moore still can be involved, and he's not getting that less targets. I think Robbie Anderson's getting like 9-ish a game, and DJ Moore is around 7-ish. So 7-ish is still where you can put up numbers. You just might not be where you expected him to be. I think he's still
Right.
in that low wide receiver 2 flex area.
yeah.
I agree.
I just don't think you're going to get him at that wide receiver 1 spot that you hoped for.
Good for
I don't
Robbie.
trust him.
It's
Good for Robbie Anderson, though. Robbie Anderson, he's pushing that
Robbie's
wide receiver 1 territory.
noise.
Trust in Robbie for
Trust
sure.
Robbie.
Lock him in.
I
your
was the
lineups.
biggest Robbie hater, and I love him. He's good.
Just
He's
get
another
out of
Adam Gase victim.
Get out of New
Yeah,
York
exactly.
and you put up
Yo.
numbers.
Once you escape from Adam Gase, you're gonna excel. I said it earlier. I meant it.
It's facts. It's facts. All right. T.Y. Hilton, 6 catches for 69 yards on 10 targets. This is a very T.Y. Hilton line that we expected to see in the beginning of the season being force-fed by Phillip Rivers. The Colts finally had to throw the ball, and they finally threw it to T.Y. Is this trust or bust?
I need to
Bust.
see some more for it to be a trust.
This was only his second game over 8 points.
My thumb is like right here.
Well,
It's
now
in
you're
between.
biased.
It's how?
You have T.Y.
How is that biased? It was almost a bust.
He's still a
It
bust.
should be a bust. It should definitely be a bust.
You got
The
to see one.
volume is gonna be there.
You hope.
Right? I hope, but
Like
like
I thought it was going to be there for the first 4 weeks, but those
That's
games were
true.
kind of weird, kind of fluky. Their defense is actually getting super
yeah, the
banged up.
defense is what scares me.
Darius Leonard also missed this past week, so Colts gave up a lot of points to the Browns, and I know they already lost Malik Hooker, and I know they've had a couple other injuries. So if their defense starts to deteriorate, and I know they're playing tougher matchups moving forward because the beginning of their schedule was super easy. So T.Y. Hilton might have some upside. You just want to see more before you even consider putting him in your lineup. All right, Brandon Cooks. After 0 points in week 4, he decided that he was going to show everyone that he still exists for 8 catches, 161 yards, and a touchdown on 12 targets for 30 fantasy points.
This one's for Bill O'Brien, he said.
Yeah, exactly. Is this trust or bust on Brandon Cooks?
Still a bust.
Yeah, it's bust. He's had more down performances than up. Maybe this game was probably by fate, not because of the coaching change. But I mean, he is capable of putting up numbers, maybe not 30 every week, which is kind of hard to do, but around our wide receiver 2 numbers.
Yeah, I am definitely saying bust as well. I'm still super nervous. That ball's getting spread around a lot. They were missing Jordan Akins as well, even though Darren Fells filled in quite nicely.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, I'm still nervous. I still think Will Fuller is the number 1 guy here. I still think Kenny Stills and Randall Cobb will get involved. So he's a boomer bust flex by week fill-in right now until you see more consistency.
Yeah.
Last wide receiver, Mike Williams, 5 catches for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. Obviously, we mentioned Keenan Allen left in the second quarter there. Are you trusting Mike Williams moving forward? Well, let's rephrase this one. You're not trusting him to start him, obviously. But would you, if Mike Williams is a free agent, are you picking him up and are you keeping him on your roster?
He could become very valuable.
No, yes, I probably would pick him up.
Pick him up, but you're not immediately like putting him into your lineup, starting him.
Well, don't do that this week. He's on a bye.
All right, obviously.
He's only owned in less than 50% of leagues, which I think is surprising, considering he's the number 2. I'd say they have a bunch of like random other
guys I don't even know. But yeah, I think Mike Williams definitely needs to be on most leagues.
Herbert likes to sling it. Apparently, he likes throwing it long.
Herbert has looked really good, so
let Herbert cook.
Jay
Herbert
Herbo.
cook.
Jay
Mike Williams is probably a boomer bust flex as well moving forward. Unless Keenan's out, then obviously more upside.
Yeah, for sure. Wide receiver 2 upside.
Couple of tight ends that had some pretty good performances. Start with Jimmy Graham, 3 catches for 33 yards and another touchdown, 12 points on 5 targets. Are you trusting Jimmy Graham moving forward?
I'll take it.
Yes. Remember you guys called him Jimmy Grandma? Someone did.
Jimmy Grandpa, yeah. That was me.
Yeah, he is old, and honestly, him and Greg Olsen have been showing that they have a second sign of life. I know Greg Olsen performed very well last week. But I know in week 1 we talked about them and said, are they relevant? We said no on both of them, and they both have been pretty decent. So Jimmy Graham has 20 targets the last 3 weeks. I think he's trustable. I think you can start him if you need a tight end, especially if you're a guy that has like Tyler Higbee or something. Feel free to plug in Jimmy Graham. T-Gots.
Shut up. I had Jimmy Graham.
I know.
I got CD though, so it's cool.
Yeah, I feel like T-Gods had everyone that we always talk about on the podcast.
That breaks
It was like, well, I had him.
I had him. I had Justin.
I
Whatever.
I traded him.
Let's talk about
Doesn't even
Q's guy here. Mike Gesicki, 5 catches for 91 yards on 6 targets, 14 fantasy points without a touchdown. Pretty impressive game for Mike Gesicki. Q, are you trusting or busting him? Are you putting him back in your lineup or not?
Yeah, especially this week against the Jets. Watching that game, he had the 70-yard run. So that was a good amount of his points, but he was second in targets. He was only on the field for 45% of the snaps, which is not ideal, but still being second in targets behind, I'm assuming, Devontae Parker. But he made the most out of his opportunity so that you can take a silver lining from the 45%. And yeah, after I noticed when he had that catch, after that, I noticed that he was being targeted. That was probably where many of his targets were, in the red zone where he was tackled, and the following drive. So I'm trusting my man. It's Mike Gesicki. Hopefully he doesn't do me wrong anymore.
I just want to say he has 2 games with only 1 catch.
Yeah.
But he had a touchdown in the one.
But
I think he's a high risk, high reward tight end start.
Yeah.
He can blow up, but he has some games where he disappears.
Because I think even
6,
with
8, and
those
2.
games, I think he has. Isn't he ranked top 6 for tight ends right now?
Yeah,
Top
he's
5
sixth
maybe?
right now among tight
Yeah.
ends because he has that 27-point game and a 14-point game last week. And they did find the end zone to get 8 in one game where he only had 1 catch. So
Points are points, baby. We take those.
yeah, even 8 isn't that bad for a tight end. So
I hate tight ends.
tight ends, yeah, some leagues don't have tight ends anymore.
We're doing that next year, or I'm not playing.
Well,
I hate it.
I don't know
I
about
hate
that.
it.
reserves.
I hate it.
Where's Vince
my
9000? Is
God.
he in the chat?
Yeah, where you at, you vacuum machine?
Oh my god.
All right.
Well said.
Anyways,
That question right there, what does Mike Gesicki rank? It means we need to take applications for a thirsty Kyle type guy. We're pulling up the random stats
yeah.
because he would have had that in maybe 1 second. Well,
Yeah, you would.
I've actually been pulling them up usually, so that's how I knew that he was top 6.
thirsty Sean.
I'm kind of thirsty. Anyways, let's move into
We're
some
so
trade
mixing.
targets before we get into a couple of questions here. I'll start us off with a buy low target for me, and that is Terry McLaurin. If you have a person in your league that has Terry and they are panicking because of the quarterback situation without Haskins, I think Kyle Allen will be fine. He'll be a viable fill.
Is he hurt still?
They said I think he practiced today. I think he's on track to be back this week. And he looked pretty decent in the short amount of time he was on the field before he got rocked. So I'm definitely still liking Terry McLaurin. I like him a lot moving forward. If you have someone panicking or nervous that he only had 5 points and he needs Haskins, yada, 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 definitely buy low on Terry. Q, you're next here. Who is your buy low target?
My buy low. We're not used to having football a day before the pod, but we saw him last night. Did not do well. Devin Singletary, he had a season low in yardage. I don't know if part of it's because they were down early and for the whole game. None of them looked up to par besides Diggs and TJ Yeldon. No Zach Moss and John Brown, so you thought maybe he'd be the other counterpart besides Diggs getting most of the work. He is still a pretty good play moving forward, but that game, along with a couple other in the past, you may want to start looking to trade for him or trade him.
Which one is it? Trade for him or trade him?
Depends on which party you're in. Do you have him or do you not have him?
So wait, if you want to trade for him, if you don't have him, why would you want to trade him if you do have him?
I'm still learning.
I'm just asking, man.
I'm just saying. All right, go.
I like Devin Singletary as a buy low as well. I'm with you, Q. Matt, hit us with your buy low.
My buy low. I was torn between 2, and that was Deontay Johnson and Amari Cooper, but I ended up going with Amari Cooper. He had a pooper of a week, as we mentioned earlier. He had 4 fantasy points. I mean, but I don't see that continuing. Andy Dalton has proven himself to be a starter in this league. He started for many of years. He wasn't elite, but he was good.
Took him to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And the Bengals also didn't have the best of teams when he took them to the playoffs. So I'm definitely buying low on Amari Cooper if an owner in your league is definitely paranoid about Andy Dalton filling in for Dak. So, I mean, if they're willing to give him up, go get him.
Yep. I'm with you. Buy low on Amari Cooper. T-Gods, last
Yes.
one here. This
I
one's
am buying low on Zach Ertz.
Ertz.
He's been not the greatest lately, and I feel like if you drafted him, you're very disappointed in him, and you're frustrated, and you want him off your team. You're tired of looking at him.
Yep.
Goddard's still
I mean, he's
out for a little bit.
pretty good-looking guy.
What?
He's
He is a pretty good looking guy. Like,
You
you know,
might not be tired of looking at.
Okay.
him.
the name. You're tired of looking at his name.
His
but-
fantasy points you're tired of looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
that
definitely
too.
tired of looking at that. But Goddard's still out for a little bit. He's got the chemistry with Wentz. He's got the skill. I mean,
We've
I
seen
see
it.
him being the number 1 target until Alshon comes back. Maybe he'll take that over, but even with Alshon back,
it helps him. I think it's gonna help him.
Exactly. And I still see Ertz being the number 1 target because that'll just bring defenses more to the outside. I mean, they haven't really been paying attention to Fulgham. He's a rookie. I mean, he had 2 great games, so they're obviously going to be eyeing him now. But I see a bright future for Zach Ertz.
Remember the complaint was that Zach Ertz was getting the ball too much or being targeted too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you live by it and you die by it. And we've been dying.
We are dying.
Not getting targets.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move into some sell high candidates. So I'll start us off here. Kenyon Drake. At this point, he had a touchdown. You try and leverage that as much as you can and just get him off of your roster.
Trade him for
dude.
Chase Edmonds.
He plays the Jets and he can only average 3.3 yards per carry. They have no linebackers. Their defensive line is like the Jets just are not that good of a team. They've been getting torched. I don't know what just happened.
What the fuck was that?
That was a warning for Kenyon Drake.
Someone's
Yeah.
car,
Yeah.
someone's car is getting broken into
Yeah,
outside.
what's going on?
Anyways, sell
Dogs are
Kenyon Drake.
barking. It's chaos right now, literally.
He is not involved in the passing game. He has become a touchdown dependent running back. And even with an easy schedule, I am not confident in him. Get him off your roster. Sell him at that. Say, look, dude, he had a better game. He had double digits, and sell him for whatever you can get.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. Q, who's your sell high?
The stonks are high right now on Todd Gurley. I honestly did not think he was going to do well last week, mainly because I was talking into existence because I was playing against him. But he had 4 touchdowns in the last 4 games and at least 15 points in the last 3 games. If you have other holes, you could probably get like a nice RB2 and a wide receiver 2. David Montgomery and DJ Chark for Todd Gurley. Would you do it if you had a hole, I guess?
I'm taking
Yeah.
that.
I would take that deal.
Jarvis Landry instead of DJ Chark. How about that?
No.
Actually, that
Maybe.
That's not
Depends on
better
how desperate I
than
am.
DJ Chark and whoever else.
Yeah, I
Montgomery.
like
David
Chark more than
Montgomery,
Landry.
Yeah.
But yeah, Todd Gurley.
Yeah,
But I have
Todd
to
Gurley,
Q,
can
I'm
sell
gonna
high.
disagree with you. I would hold on to Todd Gurley.
I mean, yeah, but if you have holes, he might be a good piece to.
Right, with
So,
injuries and
yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, and he's still not getting like crazy volume. Last week he finally got involved with the passing game. He had 4 catches. Before that, he only had 4 catches on 4 games. So
Right.
that definitely helps his case. But he's still not getting like that 20 carries per game that you expected. He actually went crazy, 14 for 121. So he was just super efficient. I don't know if that continues moving forward. And you never know with that arthritic
I don't
arthritic
know,
knee.
man. It's been there for 5 weeks. I think 5 weeks is a good sample size to trust Todd Gurley.
Give me 6.
Okay.
Let me see. All right. Matt, who is your sell high?
My sell high is a guy who absolutely exploded this week, and that is Brandon Cooks. I don't see a game like this in his future, like at all. I see either him, unfortunately, getting hurt, dealing with the injury bug, or like
Don't say
Sean. I said unfortunately. I didn't want to say it, but I had to say it because it's a fact. But like Sean said earlier, Will Fuller, Randall Cobb, fucking what's his face?
Kenny Stills, Jordan.
Yeah,
Akins,
Kenny still.
Darren
They're all
Fells.
still there. I mean, the ball is going to be shared around a lot, especially David Johnson. He catches out of the backfield. Duke
Does he?
Johnson came back. Well, Duke Johnson does if David Johnson
Okay.
doesn't. One of the Johnsons.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
One of the
Somebody's
D
catching them.
Johnsons.
Yeah, one of the D Johnsons. Yeah, if somebody wants Brandon Cooks, I mean, if you're getting what you want for him, have at it.
I
Don't
have
know
Brandon
what-
Cooks. What could I get for him running back wise?
Running back wise, if an
You-
owner,
You need someone that needs a wide receiver.
No
I
one
was
first
gonna
place.
say, go for like maybe a Darrell Henderson because maybe they're cautious of
Sean.
Cam Makers coming back.
You're
And then-
declined.
Right. So I mean, I don't know. You just
Yeah.
got to explore your options.
I'm gonna need IBM Watson to tell me.
Yeah,
Yikes.
IBM knows best. He knows more than we do.
You sent me 2 of those trades today, and they were garbage.
Please don't ever send an IBM Watson trade
All right,
because
T-Dubs.
either it's gonna get declined or you're gonna get trade R worded.
Yeah, trade attacked.
Yeah.
All right,
starts with an A.
T-Guts.
Okay. You might call me crazy, but I'm
Crazy.
selling high on Mike Evans.
That was my sell high a couple weeks ago. I agree with you.
Okay, so he only has 2 games with more than 41 yards. That I don't like that. He has a touchdown in every game. That like at least 1 touchdown. He has a game with 2. That scares me a little bit. I think that's gonna obviously it's gonna come down a little bit. And he had that one game with 2 receiving yards.
Yeah.
It was for a touchdown, but it's still
Two
like,
catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And then week 1, 1 catch, 2 yards.
yeah.
one
So he has
touchdown.
2 games with 2 receiving yards.
Yeah, this is his.
That's real
the league-
fluky to me.
To be fair, he
Weird.
was banged up in that first game.
Freaking weird,
He's been
man.
banged up all of games.
Yeah, he
That-
does have a weird ankle issue.
He really has 2 catches for 2 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, what is
That's
that?
insane. I've
What
never
is
heard
that?
stat line ever.
I don't know.
I think I saw this like the lowest in targets he's had his career so far this season.
And he's still producing. off
Well,
of
he's
it.
still
And
getting some
Godwin's
decent
coming back.
targets. As
One
much
of
as
these
it's been
days.
low,
Yeah, Godwin's coming back.
he had 17 targets in the last 2 weeks. So,
That's encouraging, but
yeah, Mike Evans, I would not disagree with you. He's still high because of the touchdown production. If that falls down, he's going to be a little bit more inconsistent. But I think with Godwin coming back, maybe it just opens up for a little bit more.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
see. Tom Brady
Don't
does like to spread the
just-
ball around. We saw him throw to 5 different receivers for 5 touchdowns a couple weeks ago.
just
so.
the other week. I mean, don't go throwing Mike Evans around. If you're not gonna get something that's worth Mike Evans, don't trade him.
Yeah. If you're selling high, you're selling high. You're
High.
looking for a
High,
good running
high,
back.
high.
High
yeah.
end wide
don't
receiver
just
one.
sell them for fun. That's
Yeah.
not what I was saying.
Don't do that.
Yeah, you're looking for a good running back because you're probably looking for running backs because everybody's looking for running backs nowadays.
Right.
He-
Like you said earlier, if you need depth and you can get a good 2-for-1 for Mike Evans,
Yeah.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, let's get into a couple of questions we had. First one here is from Real OG Clarky on TikTok. He said, "Can I trust Melvin
TikTok
Gordon
questions.
against the Patriots?"
Melvin
I mean,
Gordon.
if he
If
plays,
he playing?
if he plays,
First and foremost, if he plays, definitely
that
nervous
man
about
needs
that.
to stop drinking and driving. He's
That
about to kill
DUI,
somebody.
definitely nervous about that. But if he does play, can you trust him?
Yes.
No, because Lindsey's also back, and they're playing the Pats defense.
I think the volume's still going to be there for passing downs if he does play. He does have a decent amount of catches this season. I think he has 11 catches in 4 games. And against the Patriots, they're probably going to be down the most that they've ever been.
Yeah.
So they're going to be dump off city to Melvin Gordon if Drew Lock might be back as well. So that might give him a boost. But
This is if he plays, because
if he plays, maybe. I'm still on the fence. If you have a better option, I would definitely consider benching him. But you can start him if you need to, if he plays.
Right.
Other question here at jparsons1821, also on TikTok, asked, should he trade Josh Jacobs for Keenan Allen and James Robinson?
Do it.
I
What'd you
would
say,
do
Josh?
that.
Already
Yeah.
accept it.
Josh Jacobs for Keenan Allen, and yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I think James Robinson's good enough to a point where like you're getting Keenan Allen as well. Like you're getting a lot of value there. I think you have to accept that.
Yep.
No doubt you're getting some good stuff there. Any questions in the chat? It looks like Gator has another question as always.
Another 10.
Gator. Devontae Freeman, thoughts?
He sucks,
Um,
Gator.
He's probably thinking about going to sleep pretty soon. It's 8:00.
Yeah.
I think that's what Devontae Freeman's thinking.
Practice tomorrow.
Yeah,
dinner.
Devontae Freeman thoughts. He said, are we gonna win this week?
About. Yeah. He had a good game. Don't get me wrong, but it was against Dallas, like one of the worst run defenses in the league.
And they lost Dak halfway through the game, or
And he
whenever it
only
was.
averaged 3.5 yards per carry. I think the volume is going to be there moving forward. I think he's just going to be a super poor man's Saquon in terms of performance. So
Please don't be out here thinking you're about to get Devontae Freeman from the Falcons because you're not going to.
You know that's what Gator's thinking.
that is like long gone. That's way in the past. Leave it in the past and just focus on Devontae Freeman on the Giants. The Giants.
Ew,
Squidward.
don't ever make that voice again. I
Squidward.
hated that.
I wanted to throw up while I said it.
Squidward with the fork in his throat.
Ew.
yeah, exactly. All right.
Exactly.
I think that's going to be a wrap for the questions here.
Mom's home. Wrap it up.
Q. Joke of the week.
All right. Hopefully, I want to see your reactions, mainly T Gods. We'll see.
Hold on. Gator's still asking questions.
Yeah, well,
Said Melvin Gordon or Devonta Freeman rest of season as his RB2.
let's get to the joke.
Yeah, let's get
It's
to
gonna
the
be
joke.
Melvin Gordon, Gator. Please stop
Both.
asking questions. All right, Q, go.
What do you call a parade of rabbits hopping backwards? A receding hairline.
Wow, coming at T Gods. T Gods is balding, as you can tell.
You
You can't even tell.
You can't tell. He's got a
But
lot of
Q-
hair on that head.
You say, yo, let me put him on blast, and pop, pop, pop. Shots were sent. That was disrespectful.
Maybe
Maybe don't
if
ever
then-
do that again.
He put me in the dark with a trade that we were supposed to make and ended up doing me dirty.
1-4.
What?
1-4.
Ooh.
No, I beat you.
1-4.
It's
Damn.
your only win.
At least I can hold that over this season and on this
Wait,
podcast.
wait. I have a question.
All right, Matt, what's your question?
T-Gods, I wanted to ask you this last week, but why you got so much lotion right above your bed, bro?
Yo, why does everyone keep asking me that? I'd be lotioning.
You be lotioning.
Oh,
Whoa. All right.
All right,
Before
all
this,
right, all
before this
right, all right,
podcast
all right,
becomes
all right.
rated R, let's move on
Our
here.
podcast should be.
Move
rated.
on. We're at the end.
Move
We would-
on
we would
to
get
the
more
end of
viewers
the
if we were
podcast.
rated
It's a
R.
wrap. Make sure you're following us on all social medias,
Oh my
Instagram,
God.
TikTok, Twitter. We're everywhere. Make sure you're checking out the
Facebook,
website for
MySpace.
daily.
Add me on
not
AIM.
daily. Make sure you're checking out the website for some articles like waiver wire, as well as trade targets, smash or pass, which is start or sit. Make sure you're checking out all of us on there. Make sure you're following us everywhere, keeping up to date, and ask any questions. We're always willing to help you out. That's pretty much it. Anything else to wrap it up, guys?
I do.
I hate Q.
Huzzah!
Oh God. no.
Okay. All right.
Just end it. Just end it. Just end it. Just end it.